In need of great talent for your business but short on time? You don't have to get lost in a huge stack of resumes to find your perfect hire. You just need the right tools, smarter tools. ZipRecruiter posts your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards with just one click. Then ZipRecruiter actively looks for the most qualified candidates and invites them to apply. They even review every application to identify the top candidates so you never miss a great match. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other hiring sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on the right candidates finding you. It finds them. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes and industries to find the most qualified candidates with immediate results. And right now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Stephen A. That's with a PH, not a V. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Stephen A. One more time to try it for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/Stephen A. That's with a PH, not a V.
You wouldn't put a square peg in a round hole, so why would you deploy a traditional firewall in a modern decentralized network? Firewalls have new requirements for businesses leveraging SaaS-based applications and public cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. We're in the cloud generation now, so your firewalls have to be engineered to fit right in. Reclaim your cloud network. Try a Barracuda Cloud Generation Network or application firewall free at barracuda.com/firewalls.
The Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airways of ESPN Radio. It's 250 plus markets across the United States of America, and of course, nationwide on ESPN Radio, Sirius XM style, Channel 80. Number to call up as always is 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY ESPN. Lots of stuff to get into. You know I got my basketball on my mind because of some things that have transpired last night with James Harden registering a 60-point triple-double. Kevin Love out. Balance of power seems to be shifting before our very eyes in the Eastern Conference. We'll get into a little basketball talk as the show progresses today, but there's a lot of football on our mind because obviously I am coming at you live from Minneapolis, Minnesota, site of Super Bowl 52, Radio Row, the media stuck in this little hole all together, but we're one entity, we're one industry. We'll find a way to deal with it despite the NFL's efforts to make us uncomfortable, evidently. That's something else we'll get into some other time. It really doesn't matter. We're here. We're looking forward to Super Bowl 52, New England Patriots against the Philadelphia Eagles, and how it's a toss-up as the game draws near. People seem incapable of making up their minds definitively as to who's going to win this game and who's going to lose. We'll get into all of that as the show progresses today as well. But the first order of business, believe it or not, is Alex Smith getting traded from the Kansas City Chiefs to the Washington Redskins. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, absolutely no contracts. Here's the deal. Alex Smith's move to the Washington Redskins is going to reverberate throughout the NFL, particularly as the NFL draft approaches, because you have to look at things entirely differently now that the NFL draft is approaching us. Alex Smith is a guy. Think about this for a second. He threw for over 4,000 yards last season. 26 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions. Quarterback rating of 104. Not bad. QBR 63, not that great, but not bad. Not bad. I consider Alex Smith relatively pedestrian. He's safe. And by safe, I mean, you know what? He won't allow you to beat yourself. But what is he going to do to really uplift you, to elevate you over the hump? Is he really going to be that dude? The answer is, in all likelihood, no. So if you're the Washington Redskins, why in the hell would you make this move? It's very, very simple. You franchised Kirk Cousins not just once, but the last 2 years. Because you franchised him over the last 2 years, because you gave him nearly $50 million in guarantees, because you were going to have to do something in similar fashion before you came to a long-term deal, giving him over $100 million, which you didn't want to do, over $90 million in guarantees, which you didn't want to do. You went the safe route and said, let me get Alex Smith, who will be cheaper and in all likelihood just as effective. You got to remember, Kirk Cousins threw for nearly 5,000 yards, 4,915, I think, to be exact. He threw double the amount of interceptions. Alex Smith threw 5, he threw 12. Even though it was a wash with the touchdowns, 26 to 25, the bottom line is this. Alex Smith's been in the playoffs the last 3 years. Kirk Cousins has been out of the playoffs the last 2. For me, that prompts a discussion as to the future of Jay Gruden as coach of the Washington Redskins as far as I'm concerned. Because I don't see any reason why we should expect anything different based on the quarterbacks. If they missed the playoffs the last 2 years with Kirk Cousins as your quarterback, what makes you think they're going to make it a third year with Alex Smith as their quarterback? I don't believe it. I'm not sold on it. But I will tell you where it gets very, very interesting and where it cannot be ignored. If you are a team out there looking for a quarterback, the question is, what should teams go through right now to get their hands on Kirk Cousins? Because without Pierre Garçon, without Deshaun Jackson, the fact is he still threw for over 4,900 yards. And that can't be ignored. So what do you do? If you're going to go the route of a Kirk Cousins, how bad should the Jets, the New York Jets, pursue Kirk Cousins? I would say very religiously. Josh McCown had a decent year, but he's no Kirk Cousins. And if you got Kirk Cousins, the way Robbie Anderson played, the way Jermaine Kearse was able to chip in, even though neither was a 1,000-yard receiver, the reality is that there needs to be an upgrade at the quarterback position. And Kirk Cousins is not somebody that's only an upgrade over McCown. He's also somebody that's going to be there for years to come if you're lucky enough to go out there and get him. Because he's not just some serviceable quarterback. I think he's a lot more than that. He's no superstar, but he's a lot more than just serviceable. So if I'm the New York Jets, I go after Kirk Cousins. If I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars, I would have done that, but Blake Bortles pulled a brilliant move on them. Because since you didn't get it done, since you didn't step up and do what you needed to do to make sure that Kirk Cousins was a guy, that Blake Bortles was a guy that you retained, what happened was after Blake Bortles did this, after Blake Bortles did what he did this season, you know what happened? Are you ready for what happened, ladies and gentlemen? Blake Bortles all of a sudden got hurt, had surgery. And because of the surgery, you can't just let him go now. League rules prohibit that because you still got to give him his money. And so because you still have to give him his money, what are you going to do? That's the situation involving Kirk Cousins. Blake Bortles. So Jacksonville, where they could have once sat up there and said, all right, Blake Bortles, you're healthy, but we not feeling you. We need to go in a different direction. We're going to go the route of Kirk Cousins, who probably would have jumped at the opportunity to play for Jacksonville, considering the defense that they've got and the fact that they seem to have everything but a reliable, definitive quarterback, to depend on. That would have been a perfect landing spot for Kirk Cousins. But because that no longer appears to be an option for this immediate future, with the Washington Redskins clearly willing to say bye-bye, and literally doing their own version of Kirk Cousins. You like that? You like that? You like that? Which I hated coming out of his mouth, by the way, because you never did a damn thing to deserve saying that. Now you got a situation where you're looking for a new home. So should it be the Jets? Should it be the Cleveland Browns? Should it be the Arizona Cardinals now that Carson Palmer has retired? Those are the should it be the Denver Broncos? Should John Elway go after Kirk Cousins? After all, Paxton Lynch, Trevor Siemian, are you kidding me? Is he supposed to really depend on it? With Von Miller and the crew still on the defensive side of the ball? With them ranking into the top 5 in yards allowed? Against the run, against the pass? Even though they were 22nd in points allowed, that's because their offense put them in a bad spot. Defensively, I still believe that the Denver Broncos have one of the best defenses in football. I still believe in Anderson. I still believe in Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas. I believe in Denver's personnel outside of their quarterback spot. And to me, even though Arizona is Arizona, the bottom line is this. If I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm looking at the New York Jets. I'm looking at the Denver Broncos. The New York market. Do you believe in Bowles and McCagnon? Arizona, Wilkes is your new coach. You don't know about him, but you can roll with that. But Denver is another probability. All of those things are things that should be entertained as far as I'm concerned. They all work for me. What about you? 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. It's going to change everything that's going on in the draft. You're the Cleveland Browns. Are you suddenly looking for a quarterback? You're the New York Jets. What are you going to do? You're the Denver Broncos. What are you going to do? You're the Arizona Cardinals. What are you going to do? Those are the questions. By one simple move involving Alex Smith arriving in Washington and Kirk Cousins clearly being the odd man out, looking to get paid. You could say that Kirk Cousins may have overplayed his hands. I would beg to differ because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Even if you don't get if you don't get up to 60 or 70% of what you anticipated, if they shortchange you by about 25 to 30% of what you were expecting, it still don't take away from the $50 million you got in guaranteed over the last 2 years. So to me, Kirk Cousins didn't lose no matter what. But others might look at it a little bit differently. Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. I am coming at you live from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Site of Super Bowl 52, Radio Row, inside the Mall of America. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Back with more in a minute.
Craving even more of Stephen A?
Him of all people.
For around-the-clock access to the man?
I'm Stephen A.
You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Stephen A. Smith and on Facebook at Stephen A.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Home Insurance. Getting a quote is easier now than ever before. Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio. Number to call up as always is 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. I made a mistake earlier. I talked about Kirk Cousins passing for more than 4,900 yards. That was the season before last. That wasn't last season. His stats with Kirk Cousins was damn near identical. Alex Smith threw for – I'm sorry, his stats with Alex Smith was damn near identical. Alex Smith threw for 4,042 yards or something like that. 4,042. Kirk Cousins threw like 4,093 yards. Damn near identical. You know, again, the Redskins saved some money. We all understand that. But essentially, it's a wash. And it's got me looking at Jay Gruden. Clearly, one Gruden should be a head coach in the NFL. He just got $100 million from Oakland. Jay Gruden, as far as I'm concerned, still hasn't proven himself. That's just me. Not to say he doesn't belong in the NFL, but every year that passes by, I look at Jay Gruden and I get the impression I see a coordinator, not a head coach. That's just me. I could be wrong, but that's just me. And I think about guys like Josh McDaniels, who's going to get the job in Indy, or Matt Patricia, who's going to get a head coaching job. They've earned the right, but I've asked this question on many, many occasions, rhetorically, not cynically, but rhetorically nevertheless. I must ask the question that if Tom Brady is so great, if he is so phenomenal, then why is it that the coordinators get so much damn credit? I mean, if he's that great, then does that mean that the coordinators are great too? Or that he makes up for what they lack? How do we know? I mean, you're taking a chance. You're taking a chance. That's all I'm saying. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Let's get to the phones. Hear what you got to say about this stuff. Let's go to Rich in Jersey. You're live at Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, Rich?
Hey, Stephen, how you doing?
How are you? How's everything? Go ahead.
I'm doing well. Listen, I'm a big fan of yours. Actually, the first reason, I'm an avid Redskins fan, and the first reason I was calling was just to reiterate that he didn't throw for 4,900 without Garcon, but you already corrected that. So,
yeah, yes. That was my mistake. That was my mistake. I was reading from the year before. My bad.
No,
all right.
No big thing. What I wanted to touch on is I think the biggest and most important part of the Redskins losing in this trade is Kendall Fuller was rated the top slot cornerback in the league by Bleacher Report, and he was phenomenal for us. And, you know, I thought we were going to build a defense.
Hey, Rich, I'm losing your signal, buddy. I appreciate the call. Fuller did ball, no question about it. I'm losing your signal. That's why we dropped you. A lot of static. I apologize for that. But you're right about that, but it still comes down to the quarterbacks. Quarterback's the most important position on the field. And you got Alex Smith as opposed to Kirk Cousins. That's got to be talked about. But I hear your point about Fuller. That is legit. I appreciate the call. Thank you. Let's go to Devin. You're live at Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, Devin?
What's going on, Stephen A? I want to first of all congratulate you on your progress on your national radio show.
Thank you, bro. I
appreciate the fact that you are actually a voice for us, and I think you know what I mean by that. I want to make a quick statement first. And then go to my question real quick, and then I'm going to hang up and let you comment. It's widely known, mainly for his 6 championships, that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player in the world. And because we compare LeBron James to him, because he's not going to catch him in championships, that puts him as second tier compared to Michael Jordan.
Okay.
I say that to ask this. Because Joe Montana is undefeated in every Super Bowl he's been in, why is it that Tom Brady is looked at as a better quarterback, considering if we're comparing championships?
Right. Well, my response to that would be, first of all, that's a very legitimate question, but here's a very legitimate answer. Times have changed, and whereas you see that the game of basketball has gotten considerably softer and the competition stiffer, although one could make the same argument about the NFL being softer than it was in years past because of the rules changes. Unlike basketball, it actually makes it harder for even great players to win in the sport of football. And so because of that, when you consider the level of sustained greatness that Tom Brady has exhibited over the course of a decade plus, it's what cannot be denied. Joe Montana was phenomenal, particularly in the big games. But with the Bill Walshes of the world, the Dwight Clarks of the world, the Jerry Rices of the world, the John Taylors of the world, the Ronnie Lotts of the world, and others, all of that stuff is valid and it's true. But the thing about it is when you talk about sustained level of success, there's nobody that can compare to what Tom Brady has done. And at some point in time, you have to step back and pay homage to a man that continues to be great year in and year out with such a level of consistency that you have no choice but to bow down to it.
Understandable. Thanks a lot, Doc.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Let's go to Dominic in D.C. You're live at Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up, Dominic? How are you?
I'm good. What's up, Stephen A?
Oh, man, you better put some more bass in your voice, bro. You on national radio, dog. Come on now. You don't. I ain't your woman with Barry White music playing in the background talking about how you need to get 1-800-Flowers. I mean, you talking to Stephen A. Come on, bro. Let's go.
My bad, man. I guess I speak up. That's
Go ahead. Speak up.
Brother?
Go
How
ahead.
you doing?
I'm good. Go ahead.
Man, as far as the Kirk Cousins deal, I'm kind of upset that they gave it's the Alex Smith. He's a little older. You know what I'm saying? I guess we can expect the same production or whatever, but I think, like my man said earlier, that the worst part of that deal was Kendall Fuller. And if you look at the quarterbacks that was in the championship games, 3 of them were, I feel like Kirk Cousins is better than, I feel like Alex Smith is probably better than it too. But you see the defense is really what got them there. So I think if you get a solid defense around, you know what I'm saying, you got to keep those players. And I think they dropped the ball on that.
I still don't understand what you're trying to say, though. Tell me what you're trying to say.
I'm saying that the Redskins dropped the ball giving away Kendall Fuller as opposed to, getting Alex Smith. I think that was the worst move.
Well, you know what? Listen, here's the deal. You did it to save money, right? And you're saving a boatload of money because of what Kirk Cousins wanted, right? Compared to what Alex Smith was going to get, correct?
Right.
So think about this. If you're living in Washington, right, Dominic?
No, I actually live in New Jersey.
Okay, yeah, but you're I got it. Here's my point to you. If you want me to take Alex Smith from you, and in the process, you're enabling me to save over $20 million per, don't I got to give up something in return?
Yeah.
You see how that works? It's not like it's an even swap. What the deal is that if you Washington, you knew you were willing to lose Kirk Cousins because you didn't want to play. You didn't want to pay him. So you got to get somebody of equal value on the football field who's going to cost you considerably less. And if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you're saying, damn that, we doing you that favor. You better give us something in return. And I think that's what happened.
So I respect the move of Kirk Cousins, you know what I'm saying, him wanting so much money or whatever. I respect the saving aspect. I think Kirk Cousins is going to go to another team. He's going to win, especially I think if he goes to Denver.
Stop it. I'm hanging up. Look, man, you have a nice day, Dominic. I'm hanging up on you on that one. Kirk Cousins, wherever he goes, is going to win. How come he didn't win in Washington? He ain't been in the playoffs the last 2 years. Don't give me that. We don't know that Kirk Cousins is going to win. Jury's still out on that. Jury is still out on that. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. This is the Stephen A. Smith Show coming at you live from the Mall in America. Site of Super Bowl 52, Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's where we are, right here on Radio Row. By the way, Dollar Shave Club. Have you ever heard of that? I know you have. It not only gives you an amazing shave, but they also made products for your hair, face, skin, shower, everything you need. And it's all their own original stuff. Dollar Shave Club has you covered from head to toe. And right now you can get your first month of their best razor along with travel-size versions of shave butter, body cleanser, and yes, even butt wipes. That's right, I said it, butt wipes for just $5. After that, replacement cartridges ship for just a few bucks a month. It's the DSC starter set for just $5 exclusively at dollarshaveclub.com/Stephen A. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Stephen A. By the way, that's with a PH. It's not a V.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
That's right, that's right. Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio. Number to call up as always is 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. Back to the phones we go before Kareem Hunt, star rookie for the Kansas City Chiefs, will be on with us to start off hour number 2. Let's get back to the phones. Let's get to Will and PA. You're live at Stephen A. Talk to me.
Stephen A., what's going on, man? Appreciate
Talk
your
to me,
insight.
Yep.
So I'm really looking forward to your answer on this.
Well, I would hope so since you called into the show.
Hey, listen, man, I can't call Brady the best, man. I really think he's just a product of circumstances. You know, we've seen Belichick have success with anybody he throws in whenever Brady's not there because of injury or the suspension or whatever.
Who exactly is that? Hold on. Who's exactly that? Matt Castle?
I'm sorry?
Drew Bledsoe? Who? Where's your evidence?
With who?
Exactly what you're saying. You're the one that sat up there and said, Brady, you throw anybody up in there, Belichick has been successful. I'm asking you who.
No,
where's the evidence?
When Brady wasn't there, we seen Garoppolo. He what do you go 3-1? When Matt Castle was there, he went 2-0.
He went 2-0. Hold on. He won 2-0. He won. Jacoby Brissett won a game, lost a game. My point to you is the only evidence we have of any real success has been with Brady.
I'll give you that.
That is a fact. I'm not giving you emotion. I'm giving you fact.
Okay.
All right. What else?
No, that was it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Not a problem. Have a good day. Milton in Tennessee, you're live at Stephen A. Talk to me.
What's going on, Stephen? I got a question.
Talk to me, bro. Yeah.
Do you feel Kirk Cousins would be a better chance winning in Denver or New York?
Denver.
So
they have a better team. They have a better team.
Now, with that being said, do you think if he goes to Denver, you think he can pull some Peyton Manning type of thing off, or does he need to calm down and just kind of,
I'm not sure he could do that, but I do have confidence that the personnel that already exists around him is superior to what would be around him in New York. I think that he would be a significant upgrade in New York. Todd Bowles and McCagnon would be lucky to have him for the New York Jets. But I do believe with Von Miller leading and spearheading that defense with Aqib Talib still on the roster, assuming he doesn't get traded, with the rest of the crew that they have in Denver on the defensive side of the ball, along with Anderson out of the backfield, with Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders as your wideouts, I think the personnel that exists in Denver is far superior to what New York has available for Kirk Cousins. That is my belief.
One more question for you, bro.
Hurry up.
How do you feel about Arizona hiring the black coach?
I love it. I want to see African Americans get opportunities to be head coaches in this game, particularly those who paid their dues. I love it. I love the fact that they got an opportunity, and that he got hired. That doesn't mean that if he doesn't do the job, he deserves to keep it. You got Anthony Lynn in San Diego, who I think did a relatively decent job. Vance Joseph in Denver, not so much. I'm rooting for him, but he didn't do a great job. And he's lucky to still be there after the season Denver had. Let's just call it what it is. Hugh Jackson. I love Hugh Jackson as a person. My brother, he was 0-16. He's 1-31 as head coach of the Cleveland Browns. That's less than 3% winning percentage. Can you tell me how, in right consciousness, I could come on the air and defend Hugh Jackson keeping his job?
Oh, no, I can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Neither can I. And so what I'm saying is that we want opportunities. You certainly want opportunities for African Americans. I'm certainly not going to apologize for that. But when they get those opportunities, we have to hold one another accountable like we'd hold anybody else accountable. Remember, the goal is about fairness and equity. It hasn't existed throughout history, but it needs to. And we don't get further in life by wishing for inequities when we've suffered at the hands of it before. What we want is to make sure there's a fair and equitable playing field. And that's just about fairness.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Number to call up as always is 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. Until he calls, we'll get back to your calls right here where Stephen A. Smith is live from Radio Row in Minneapolis, Minnesota, site of Super Bowl 52 this Sunday evening. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Chris in L.A. You're live at Stephen A. Talk to me.
Hey, Stephen A., I apologize about yesterday, man. I wasn't ready, so I apologize.
Yeah, you got to be ready. You got to be ready. Let's go.
Yes, sir. I always am. Okay, real quick. I want to touch on the Blake trade. I don't think it's that big of a deal in terms of changing the landscape of the East. Still going to come down to Toronto, Boston, and Cleveland, in my opinion. And I think that Jerry West obviously is he is preparing to land a free agent, but people pose the question, are the Lakers in trouble, or do we have something to be worried about? I say no, because we're still the Lakers. We had that tradition, so I just wanted to get that out the way. And real quick,
saying, what do you talk about the Lakers have anything to worry about? Why would the Lakers have anything to worry about?
I don't know. I just heard this on talk radio yesterday morning before I called you, and I was going to ask you that question yesterday. That's what they asked. Like, the Lakers have anything to worry about as far as the Clippers making trades here and there? Are we worried about LeBron possibly going to going to Clippers instead of coming to the Lakers?
I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I think you need to spread your wings and fly and get the hell out of LA for a little while so you can hear something differently. Nobody in the world was thinking about the Clippers, man. Other than the Blake Griffin trade, nobody was thinking about them usurping the Lakers in any way. Now, ain't nobody thinking about that, bro. You ain't got nothing to worry about. Go ahead.
I agree, Stephen. Okay, real quick. I have a question regarding LeBron and his persona. Do you think that people truly enjoy playing ball like with LeBron? And I say that because I'm a Kobe fan, huge Kobe fan, and Kobe used to get that nod against him to where people would say, oh, Kobe's a ball hog, Kobe's this, Kobe's that. But I've never heard too many complaints on the same level as LeBron as far as LeBron pointing the fingers, not really holding himself accountable.
Let me stop you. Let me stop you. It ain't that complicated, bro. It's not about the game. It's about the drama that is now coming with LeBron. He's passive-aggressive to a fault. Everybody knows that he is. On top of it all, there's all of these storylines as to whether he stays or goes. He's the leader. Everybody else is his little brother and all of this other stuff. All of that stuff is going on. And so because you have all of that, it's become a pain in the neck to a lot of different people. They'll never say so, but it's not the tranquil environment per se that it once was. It's not an environment rife with togetherness that it once was. That may not be LeBron's fault. It may be the inability of grown men and adults to handle stuff the way they should be handling it. But there is no doubt that stuff is on shakier ground than it used to be with LeBron James and his teams than it was in the past. There's no doubt about that.
Got you, Stephen. All right, makes sense. Thanks for taking my call.
Right.
Take care of me.
Take it easy, man. Have a good day, man. No problem at all. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Let's go to Shane in Mississippi. You're live at Stephen A. Talk to me.
Stephen A., man, why are we grading quarterbacks on Super Bowl rings?
That's not the only thing we're grading them on, sir.
Well, I get that, but see, I don't think it's close to where Aaron Rodgers is 100 times better than Tom Brady. And let me break it down because I know you're going to freak out.
Hold on. You need to break down to me that the bad man that he is the greatest talent at quarterback that I may have ever seen. You need to break down to the man who has religiously stated that for the last 4 or 5 years?
No, I get what you're saying, but it's not just you I'm relaying this to. It's everybody who just, for some reason, thinks that quarterbacks are graded on rings. Aaron Rodgers has been eliminated from the playoffs 4 times where his defense has given up 37 points. This year was the most points the Bill Belichick defense has ever given up against the Kansas City Chiefs at 42. And that's in the regular season, the playoffs,
I'm going to stop you right there. Here's the problem that I have with your argument. even though I'm a guy that's been on the record stating that Aaron Rodgers is the greatest talent that I've ever seen at the quarterback position, here's my problem with you. You're leaning strictly on numbers, and you're ignoring moments. Tom Brady deserves the credit and the respect and the adulation that he receives, because when moments call for him to rise up and show his greatness in times of extreme duress, in the biggest moments imaginable, he gets it done. Whereas Aaron Rodgers, through no fault of his own in most instances, finds himself in a position where that's rarely called upon for him to show up and do. And so as a result of that, you have to look at him and say, well, damn, I believe he could do it, but there haven't been enough moments where he's been called upon to prove it and validate it or not. And that's where your problem lies. Somehow, some way, the Patriots collectively go about the business of positioning Tom Brady to validate the greatness we all suspect he has, whereas the Green Bay Packers as an organization repeatedly lets us down in terms of putting Aaron Rodgers in that position. That's the difference.
You are 100% correct about that. But, and I'm not saying Tom Brady's that, obviously. But, I mean, just think about last year in the Super Bowl, that Edelman catch. He threw the ball directly to Atlanta defender, and he dropped it, and that's fine. But Peyton Manning against the Saints throws an interception, and they lose that game because of him. But because an Atlanta defender doesn't drop, and you're talking about what he did after that. Listen. But my point is, that was a moment where he dropped, where he interception.
Yeah, but
was
once again, I'm going to interrupt you. This is not a good week, a good day, a good hour for you to utilize your time to downgrade the greatness of a guy that's appearing in his 8th Super Bowl in favor of somebody who's only been to one. You can't do it, Shane. I understand your point, but you can't do it. Have a nice day.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.
Mike Golick here. You know, ADT, the #1 security company, can now help keep you safe at home and when you're on the go. Get started with the ADT Starter Kit professionally installed for only $49. Plus, you'll get ADT Go, the new family mobile safety app and service with 24/7 emergency response for free with any ADT security system. Go to ADT.com/podcast to learn more today.
Requires 36-month monitoring contract, QSP and Easy Pay. Activation and early termination fees may apply. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com. Additional charge for ADT Go premium services after March 31st, 2018.